Welcome to How to Survive. We're here to get you through the stuff that can kill you.
Oh, you mean like bear attacks and earthquakes and fires?
Totally. And the stuff that makes you wish you were dead.
Yeah, like having your heart broken or peeing your pants a second time.
Check, check, check.
Yeah. We should just play the music.
Yeah.
Ground is shaking under our feet. Mountains on fire, flooding in the street. Can't breathe the air, can't fight the feeling. Gobbling down Xanax ain't the way to be dealing. Gotta do better than just getting high. We gotta stick together if we're gonna survive. Ooh, how to survive. Ooh, how to survive.
Welcome to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. I am Danielle.
I'm Kristine.
How are you, Kristine?
I'm pretty good.
What's with the equivocation? What's going on?
All right. So I'm going to talk to you about this, Danielle, and our listeners, because this is something I feel like I can't really share at home.
Yeah.
I've noticed, and this is really shallow, that I have gotten bigger in some areas of my body.
Okay.
My thighs, my butt, and my stomach.
Okay. I used to call that what did I used to call that? The tri-state area.
My tri-state area has expanded. Yeah. And I don't know if I've gained weight because I don't have a scale. It's not healthy for me to have a scale in my house, but I do have mirrors.
Okay.
And I own pants.
Right.
And they have gotten tighter.
Well, I heard that during the pandemic, across the land, pants started shrinking.
Yes, I've heard that too.
I've heard that from many people.
But I, again, know it's not just a shrinkage of pants problem. And I think, what is embarrassing for me about this is that I just never imagined during like a global pandemic where hundreds of thousands of people have had a virus and died that I would spend this much time hating my thighs.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing what our self-destructive tendencies can overcome.
It feels like also the most probably white privilege thing I could do.
Well, I don't know. I think, I see what you're saying. Right.
I mean, it is a luxury to hate your thighs in this kind of world.
But I also think it's, I don't know. I also think it's just so ingrained.
Yes.
I don't think you have to be privileged to
hate yourself.
I see what you're saying if you have bigger problems, but I've had bigger problems in my life and still been concerned.
It's an easy fallback.
And also because it's a control thing. Like you think, I can control this.
This is something I can control. I can't control a global pandemic.
Right.
I can't control if like my kids get on some level I can control if they get the virus or not. I can get them vaccinated and make sure they wear masks. Right. But like,
you're not sending them to a
COVID party?
COVID party, yeah.
Not at this point, no. What if it just came out of a piñata? The COVID.
Oh, fun. And then you have to grab it?
Yeah, that'd be the fun way to get it. But I keep thinking about women, like I can't stop thinking about women during like the 1918 flu.
Yes.
Like were they like...
They probably weren't.
I can barely get my petticoat on.
Right.
Like, oh, honey, my corset only goes to 24 inches before I get the vapors.
You're mixing so many eras and so many different concepts, but I love it. No, I think that's fair. I think we all worry about those sorts of things, and it's all right. Okay. But also give yourself a break.
I'm trying to just be like, well, you'll just wear those one pants that fit.
Right.
Those one pair.
Right. And then they'll get loose, and then you'll feel really thin.
And then I'll never wash them.
Right.
Because just keep stretching them out.
Right.
And then I'll just buy, you know what I can do?
Yeah.
Buy all new pants. Is one option.
That is an option. Yeah. Right. Well, yeah. I mean, whatever you feel comfortable with.
I don't know. We'll you know what? We'll circle back to this. One way to lose a lot of weight is through blood loss.
Oh, what a fantastic transition.
How about that segue?
We should try that.
I mean, I don't know if it's the
people do that?
I think, well, you know what? When I was doing this research, I came across, of course, the guy from who they made a movie about him, the guy, I can't remember, his first name's Aaron, Aron, but I can't think of his last name, who had to cut off his own arm
Oh,
who got
the
caught in the boulder.
27 hours
The
or
127
23,
hours
yeah.
guy. And by the time they rescued him, he had lost 40 pounds.
Wait, including the arm or
I
excluding
mean,
the arm?
I don't think his arm weighed 40 pounds.
But his arm probably weighed a good chunk of that.
I mean, I don't know. How much does an arm weigh? I would say 5 to 7 pounds.
I don't know. A guy who's like
He was a pretty slim guy, though, right?
But wasn't he muscly? Muscle
Yeah,
supposedly
muscle.
weighs more than fat.
Is that true?
I mean, that's what people say to make you feel better.
Let's say his arm weighed 10 pounds.
Yeah. And then he
So-
lost 30 pounds. 127 hours. Only a man could lose that much weight in 127 hours.
I know,
A
right?
woman would be like, I'm back to normal.
Yeah, I lost 6 ounces.
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't watch that movie because I don't want to spend 2.5 hours watching
Right.
someone saw off their own arm.
Yeah. Today's topic could be stressful for some people. What exactly is the topic?
So we're
Kristine?
going to talk about how to survive blood loss,
Love
losing a lot of blood. So for anyone who is squeamish about blood, this might be...
Well, it's not a visual medium.
No, I'm not
so
going to show
hopefully-
anyone
yeah.
blood. I mean, people usually, if they faint at the sight of blood,
Yeah.
they'll be fine because I'm not going to show... how could I?
How could you?
No one's filming. I mean,
No.
I see a camera over there.
I mean, you'll put pictures of gaping wounds.
I'm going to put so many gaping wound pictures on
Yeah.
Instagram. You're going to lose your mind. And once I figure out how to TikTok stuff to our
Yeah.
Instagram, once I figure that out,
Is that a sentence?
nope.
Okay.
But the kids get it.
I know.
The kids listening, they get
Yeah.
it. Okay, so first you might be wondering, Danielle,
Yeah.
is it common? Is it common for Americans to die from hemorrhaging or blood loss? Well, I'll tell you, about 60,000 Americans die
A year?
every year.
From blood loss?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, although the injury is often associated with wounds you can see, you can also bleed to death, which is called exsanguination.
Yep.
Which
Sanguine.
Doesn't that sound like, to me, that as soon as I saw that word, I was like, that should be Angelina Jolie's perfume, right? Exsanguination.
Totally. Yes. But she would only advertise it in another country because she's not that crass.
Oh, of course.
She doesn't want anyone to know she's making money through commercial.
When you go to Tokyo,
Oh, she's all over the place. right?
Angelina Jolie is in the Times Square of Tokyo
Yeah.
on the side of a huge building.
Yeah.
And there's a big perfume bottle, exsanguination.
Yes.
And she's holding it.
Yeah.
And she also has a vial of it around her neck instead of blood because she
Right.
doesn't do that tacky shit anymore. She's classy now.
She is.
Okay, so you can bleed to death without ever seeing a drop of blood.
Oh my God. So it's internal bleeding.
That's right.
Jesus.
Let's all learn together.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm wondering if you're going to drown in your own blood inside your body.
It can happen.
It sounds exciting.
Let's all learn together.
Okay.
How to recognize the signs of internal bleeding, how to stop external bleeding until help arrives, what it feels like to go into hemorrhagic shock. Hemorrhagic.
That's a town in
Scottsdale?
Yep.
Near Scottsdale. It's just outside of Scottsdale.
Hemorrhagic. I was really going for like Denmark or something.
Yes.
But
Well, it's weird that it is near Scottsdale.
I couldn't get the word Denmark out. So it is weird. It is weird.
It's all weird. Okay. What does it feel like?
Yeah.
You might wonder. So bleeding to death, it might not be painful, but the initial injury can be.
Yeah.
Okay, so for example, if you're injured in a car accident, you may experience great pain, obviously,
Yeah.
from the cuts or the crush injuries, and you may begin bleeding. Okay, but the blood loss may not cause any more pain than the injuries. However, as blood loss increases, you'll begin experiencing signs and symptoms of hypovolemic shock or hemorrhagic shock. So hemorrhagic, and I hope I'm saying that right, is a form of hypovolemic shock in which severe blood loss leads to inadequate oxygen delivery at the cellular level.
Okay.
If hemorrhagic continues unchecked, hemorrhagic shock, I should say, death quickly follows.
Okay.
Here's some mild symptoms. Dizziness, sweating.
You have a big hole in your stomach and blood is pouring out.
Blood is shooting everywhere.
You've just been shot.
That's a mild symptom.
And there's blood gushing out of your body. Check for signs.
That's a small sign. Dizziness,
Yeah.
sweating, fatigue, nausea, headache.
Okay.
Which is like, isn't that a symptom of everything? Okay.
Yes.
We all have it right now.
Right.
Symptoms will become more severe as blood loss increases. Pale skin, cold or clammy skin, rapid heart rate, weak pulse, rapid shallow breathing, lightheadedness. Lightheadedness. So cute. Loss of consciousness. Okay. How long does it take?
To bleed to death?
Yeah. Want to take a guess?
Okay, yeah, I will guess. I'm going to say 5 minutes.
Very good. Bleeding to death can happen very quickly.
Okay.
A person can bleed to death in just 5 minutes.
Oh.
And if their injuries are severe, this timeline may be even shorter.
Right.
However, not every person who bleeds to death will die within minutes of the start of bleeding. If you're lucky enough to have a clotting problem or slow internal bleed, for example, it can take days for the blood loss to be severe enough to cause hemorrhagic shock. So if you're
so if you have a clotting problem, can that save your life then if you have a clotting problem?
I guess so.
So wait, if you can't, clotting problem would mean your blood clots when it's not supposed to, or it doesn't clot?
Clotting problem would mean it does clot, I think, because it's not coming out fast.
Okay, so it could save your life.
Yeah.
And you
In this case.
also put that on a scone, right? Clotted cream.
Are you saying scone?
Well, only
that how
because
they
I
say
know
it?
on British Bake Off they say scone. And it's really weird.
God, now I want one.
Yeah, but have you ever had? I mean, our scones are just heavy. Like
I like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I like it.
They are good with with the clotted cream and the jam and
love
everything.
It. I
Yeah,
love that.
great.
I love that clotted cream.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe you could slap some clotted cream on your wounds, but where you're going to get clotted cream, like in an alley where you've been shot. I assume
You might be
everyone
outside of
dies like Batman's parents.
You might be outside of a bakery, though, that has the clotted cream when you're shot.
Well, that would be fantastic then. I think that would be a nice salve.
Keep it in mind. Okay. Although I think I'd grab a scone before the clotted cream.
Oh, because they're so thick and absorbent.
Shove that into
Oh,
the
that's
hole.
such a good idea.
That isn't in this advice.
No, it's not in the... Okay.
So we're going to get there. How much blood is lost? The amount of blood you have in your body depends on your age and size.
Okay, I've always wondered about this. How much blood does one have?
You're about to find out.
Okay.
The National Institutes of Health say a 154-pound man has between 5 and 6 liters of blood in his body.
Oh,
so someone like Garen, I don't know how much Garen weighs. I don't know how much men weigh.
But I also don't know what a liter is.
He's slim. So he's probably got, 4 or 5 liters of blood.
Okay.
No, he's probably got 5 or 6. A smaller woman might have between 4 and 5 liters in her body. So you probably have like 2 liters, Danielle. Hemorrhagic shock begins when you lose about 20% or 1/5 of your body's blood or fluid supply.
Okay.
So fluid supply, is that what, pee? Can you go into shock if you pee too much?
Wait a second. Say it again.
Of your body's blood or fluid supply.
Your body.
What else is coming out?
Well, I don't know. What do you have? Pus?
Water? I lost too much pus?
I guess you don't have pus just in your... Karen's looking at me like I'm nuts. Something creates pus. You don't just have pus in your body. You have to have like an infected something to create pus. So scratch the pus idea.
Okay. I scratched it.
I don't know what other fluids you would have besides water. Yes, water.
Okay. But I mean, how does that even start coming out?
Like if you're shot with an arrow and then you just start water comes out like a
what if maybe you vomit so much that you go into hemorrhagic shock because fluid comes through that way.
Oh. Yeah.
That could happen, right?
I mean, if I haven't died from peeing at this point...
That's true.
I mean, how much
Do you need to take a break now?
No, I'm fine.
Okay,
but
just
yes,
let me know.
Generally.
Okay, so what happens is your heart isn't able to pump sufficient amounts of blood through your body. That's what happens, is that you've lost so much that you don't have enough for your heart.
Wow.
You reach exsanguination.
Exsanguination. Live it.
When you lose 40% of your body's blood or fluid supply. This condition can be fatal if the bleeding isn't stopped and treated quickly. We know that because we learned that. Oh, here's an interesting fact. Can your period cause this?
Oh, wow.
Well, the average woman loses 60 milliliters, about 2 ounces.
Okay.
Because we needed to know that.
Okay.
Of blood during her period. Women with heavier periods.
You mean every day or every time?
I think during her period. So 2
ounces doesn't sound like anything.
I feel like it's happening to me right now. I mean, I'm on my period for this episode. I timed it.
Good for you.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice tribute for the episode. So women with heavier periods typically lose 80 milliliters of blood.
Okay.
Which is, if it's 60 is 2 ounces, then 80 would be, a little bit more than that, because I'm not good at math. Although this may seem like a lot, the human body holds more than 1 gallon of blood.
Well, yeah.
Losing a couple of ounces during your menstrual cycle isn't enough to cause complications or result in exsanguination.
Live it. Do it.
If you're concerned about blood loss from your menstrual period, see your doctor. Where you'll cook. I'm sure they'll tell you it's all in your head and you're either depressed or stressed or both.
Yeah.
They can.
Or just hormones.
Yeah. Nothing's wrong with you. They can determine whether your bleeding is consistent with menorrhagia or if your symptoms are tied to an underlying condition. Okay, so it can be different if you have endometriosis.
Menorrhagia is Angelina Jolie's scent from men.
Oh my God.
Menorrhagia.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like, I would describe it as like the pine forest.
Right. Sandalwood.
Yeah. Very musky. Hers is also probably pretty musky.
Yeah.
I like it. She likes a masculine scent. If you have endometriosis, you can have a heavy blood loss.
Yes.
So that's something to look out for women.
Yes.
Make sure you're pushing if your doctor is telling you it's nothing, don't listen. Go get a second opinion, women. I just want you to look out for yourselves. Okay. Injuries that can cause you to bleed to death include, this all seems like common sense, but I'm going to list them anyways. Crush injuries from car accidents or a heavy object falling on you.
There's that piano again.
Or if you're a cartoon character, look out for anvils.
Right.
Right?
They never bleed, though.
That's true.
Cartoon characters.
That's
true. They just get flattened.
They just get flattened
in a humorous ironing board type manner.
That's right. Gunshot wounds.
Yep.
Stab or puncture wounds from a needle or knife.
Yep.
Needle. Who's getting punctured from a needle?
Heroin addicts.
That's true. So,
but I don't think you bleed.
No, I think you get other problems. Hematoma, which is a collection of blood such as a clot outside of a blood vessel. Cuts or abrasions to internal organs. Oof. Cuts or lacerations to the skin. Blunt force trauma from impact with an object. Oof. Which just sounds like you're being kept in a basement. Okay. Yep. You don't have to see blood leave your body to bleed to death. Internal bleeding can also be fatal. This can also be from a crush injury, blunt force trauma, a torn or ruptured blood vessel, an aneurysm, which my mother went through.
Oh, wow.
Really, she had to get these coils put in her brain, and she has to have the coils checked every 6 months.
And so the coils are permanent?
Yes.
So what do the coils do?
They keep the blood vessels from becoming restricted. I think that's the right word.
Jesus. So they opened up her head?
Oh, yeah. No, they went through her groin with a small tube. Yeah, it was like she was even on the news because the surgery was so new. But
they went through her, when you say her groin, do you mean they went through her vagina?
No, like her leg.
They inserted, so they made an insertion.
With a camera, and they go up, and then they put coils onto her to open up her aneurysms because she has multiple aneurysms.
Wow.
And they put these coils to keep the blood flow moving so she doesn't have another aneurysm.
That is unbelievable. How long has she had these in here?
Years. And she has to go every year and have them checked. Symptoms of internal bleeding aren't always easy to identify. They often go unnoticed, especially if blood loss is slow. So this is one of those situations where, which I find fascinating and terrifying. Like people can walk away from a car accident and be talking, and you'll think they're fine, and then they die.
Right.
Because you don't know they have all this internal bleeding.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
So seek immediate medical attention if you notice blood in urine, blood in stool, black or tarry stool.
Tarry stool?
Tarry stool. But I mean, what is the difference? If it's black stool, what's tarry?
I don't know.
Does that mean it's blacker? Does that mean it looks like tar?
Oh, tarry.
Tarry. Tarry. Black or tarry stool.
Well, do you think that's what tarry means?
I'm just guessing that
I don't
it means
know.
it looks like tar.
I understand what you're saying.
Does it mean it's like a different consistency? I think we might need Garen to look this up for us.
I went to high school with this girl who...
I can't wait to see what's coming next.
Well, I don't remember where she was from. I think maybe South America or something. But she had one of these non-definable accents.
Yes.
Undefinable accents. And she said to me, Danielle, if you cough up blood, is that bad? I was like, yeah, Tanya, I'd get that looked at.
Yeah, that's a
But
call.
that's what it made me think of when you said pooping blood or...
Yeah, that's you want to get that looked at right away. Vomiting blood, bad idea. Yeah, bad thing. Chest pain, abdominal swelling, abdominal pain, vomiting blood, abdominal pain. As we know with Garen, seek immediate medical attention.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Got to get.
Thank God he wasn't bleeding. He just had a appendicitis. But yeah,
that could have come.
Right.
So we're gonna get back to the tarry stool and find out what should you do if you have a severe wound. What should you do if you have a severe wound?
Well, my understanding is you put pressure on it and you wrap it up.
You're going to call 911.
Oh, that's
and
remain calm.
You're going to, for sure. Okay, so they're going to maybe ask you have this severe wound. Okay.
Yeah.
So they may ask you to raise or elevate any injured body part except the head. Don't move people who have injuries to their legs, back, neck, or head.
Okay, so what I'm thinking, this is what I'm picturing.
Yeah.
Because I'm picturing that the wound is in your stomach, right?
Yeah.
So then you have to do like a bridge. Like put your arms...
Bridge pose, yeah. Go into bridge pose.
Yeah, to raise your stomach.
I wish I could get into a good bridge pose these days. I don't know if I have the strength, but I would say yes. Danielle, go into bridge pose.
Yeah.
No one else should do that, just Danielle.
With my 2 ounces of blood in my body.
I think don't move people in general, I would say.
Never move people.
Just don't move people. Like,
No.
unless if it's their hand, maybe hand injury.
Yeah.
But like if you if
Yeah.
you come across an accident,
Don't
or
touch
just
them.
Don't move them. Unless it's like, oh, if I don't move him, they're going to get hit by this 18-wheeler that's coming at us. Like, yeah.
But what you're saying is the body part should be raised if it's bleeding, which makes sense. They always
Yes.
say that. So if
Not
your
the head.
hand,
Not the head.
But if your hand or just lift it up.
You're going to apply medium pressure to the wound with a clean cloth, bandage, piece of clothing, or your hands.
Tourniquet.
Don't apply pressure to eye injuries.
Oh, God.
I mean, when I read this, I was like, so did they have to tell us this because someone has done this? Like,
I'm just picturing, like, I guess I've just watched too many scary or just action movies where like someone presses their thumbs against someone's eyes and kills them that way.
I know.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Heal.
Oh, you hurt your eyes? Let me put my fists into them and see if that helps. This is my instinct is I should stick my thumbs in your eyes. Okay.
The fist is even funnier. Oh my God.
Okay. Help the injured person lie down or you lie down, mostly because if you faint, you're less likely to get hurt more from the falling.
Right.
Okay. Do your best to remain calm.
Yes.
As you know. Okay. Because if you get more upset and you raise your blood pressure, the speed of your blood loss will increase too.
Wow.
So it's actually medically, like it's actually important for your actual life
to remain
calm, not just a stupid thing people say.
Right.
Because before this, it's just a stupid thing we've been
It's just
saying.
stupid.
Okay. So now it's time for you to learn how to save someone else, not just yourself. So you're just an ordinary citizen who happens to be nearby and there's some kind of emergency, right? Or tragedy. And even if you have no medical background, you can master some simple techniques for stopping a bleed. You can take an hour-long class. They have them free on the internet.
Oh, I thought you meant that was a way to stop a bleed. Take an hour-long class. I'm like, that doesn't sound very good.
It's not fun.
Okay, so I'm sorry. They have an hour-long class.
Yeah, I think it's actually called Stop the Bleed.
Okay.
Is where you can go. You can look that up, and then
The Republicans are for that, right?
they are.
Stop the bleed.
Yes, they're. They're. I mean, I don't know. It depends on who you're saving. If you're for or against it. And you can even download an app on your phone that has a bunch of information on how to help somebody if they're having a lot of blood loss. Okay. So first step: expose the skin so you can see where the bleeding is coming from.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to talk a little bit more in depth over some stuff we've already covered about using both hands to maintain firm, steady pressure directly on the bleeding site. You can also use your knee if necessary to maintain the pressure, which
Makes
I
sense.
like this because I feel like I don't have very strong hands.
Yeah.
I feel like my hands would be cramping.
But your knees are
knees?
next level strong.
Oh my God. I could
Your knees do those marathons and those crazy runs and all that stuff.
I send my knees out for like ultra marathons, but I stay home. Okay. If you have a bandage, great. You know, they have bandages called hemostatic dressings.
Ooh.
If they're available, but you know, obviously you might be in a situation where you don't have that, so you can use some clothing, whatever. Try to use something clean if you have it. Okay, if the bleeding persists, place a tourniquet on a limb 2 or 3 inches closer to the torso from the bleeding. Tighten until the bleeding stops.
Wait, 2 or 3 inches closer to the torso
from the bleeding. So
don't put it on top of the bleeding? Mm-mm. Oh, okay. So if it's on your stomach,
so this is
put the tourniquet above the wound.
Tourniquets are for like arms and legs.
I'm a ding dong. Okay,
no, you're
I
not.
know what you're talking about
not.
now. Yeah. Okay.
Like
when someone rips their shirt off and then shreds it into a long piece of fabric and then wraps it around. Okay, right.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
If the bleeding still doesn't stop, a second tourniquet can be placed closer to the torso. If the injury is in a joint, like the shoulder or the groin, pack the wound with gauze, but do not use a tourniquet. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. If the victim is suffering from a gunshot to the head or abdomen, you should also apply pressure to stop bleeding, but the victim is less likely to survive.
Okay, so don't be too hard on yourself if it doesn't work.
No,
because the chances were against the fellow in the first place. Okay.
They have a less likely chance, but do your best.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something fun. Be aware that applying pressure on a wound can be very painful to the injured person, and it's important to talk the victim through the procedure and explain that the pain is necessary and that help is on the way.
I'm about to add to your pain.
Yes, you just got to speak to them with kindness and say, hold on, we're going to stop the bleeding. We're going to get you care.
I'm going to put my fists in your eyes.
Pop your eyes out. It's going to hurt.
You might feel a pinch.
You might feel a popping sound. And then vision loss. Bleeding to death isn't common. Not everyone who loses large amounts of blood will die as a result of blood loss. How well you recover from the injury and blood loss depends largely on how quickly you get medical attention, how much blood loss you experienced, and how severe the damage was.
Okay.
Speaking of bystander help, I will share a little story with you guys if you would like to hear it. This is actually kind of ties in some other episodes we've talked about.
Okay.
And it's not as much about this woman's blood loss, so I'm kind of going off topic a little bit. But this is a woman who survived 7 days on a Big Sur beach after she drove off the side of a cliff.
Oh my God.
Okay. So her name is Angela Hernandez, 23 years old. Okay, so Hernandez, sometime around noon on July 6th, I was in the final half of a beautiful drive down home to Southern California. I was passing through Big Sur when a small animal stepped onto the road, causing me to swerve and lose control of my vehicle. Oh. I don't really remember much of the fall. They say I fell somewhere around 250 feet.
Oh my God.
The only thing I really remember after that was waking up. I was still in my car and I could feel water rising over my knees.
Oh my God.
So her Jeep crashes, goes off the side. I mean, you know how steep it is, Big Sur.
Yeah.
It's like a huge cliff. Crashes into the ocean. Now water's rushing in.
Jeez.
My head hurt when I touched it. I found blood on my hands. My car's power was off by now and every window was closed.
Oh, everything has a live hammer.
Everything kind of happens fast here. I took off my seatbelt and found a multi-tool I kept near my front seat.
No way.
Yes. I started hitting the driver's side window with it. Every bone in my body hurt. The only thing racing through my mind was my sister Isabel. So I started screaming her name. Eventually, I was able to break out of my car and jump into the ocean. I swam to the shore and fell asleep for an unknown amount of time. When I woke up, it was still daylight, and it was only then that I had finally realized what had happened.
Jeez.
I noticed a huge pain in my shoulders, hips, back, and thighs. So this is a really long post, but she survived 7 days on some water. She uses a tube from her car that she finds some mossy cliff that has some water trickling down and drinks that water, sleeps on the like rocks at night, and then finally is discovered by 2 hikers.
Can't move.
It's just hard for her to walk. So, and she even had a gallon of water in her car, but she couldn't get to it.
Right.
So they find her after 7 days. It turns out she had a brain hemorrhage.
Oh.
Broken ribs, broken collarbone, ruptured blood vessels in both eyes, intense sunburns on her hands, feet, and face. So she had a brain bleed through that whole thing. But I loved this story so much because she also escaped using I don't know if it was a life hammer, but like a multi-tool, and had that in her car. And after crashing 250 feet, had the wherewithal with all those injuries
Unbelievable.
And remained calm to like break out of a window.
And then figured out the thing about the tube and the...
Yeah, and she even walked back to her car and got it. Like she was walking...
Isn't her car in the ocean?
Yeah. But I think it had fallen... Like her car wasn't that far into the ocean.
Right.
It didn't
so
sink.
she just like went back for the...
She went back and she saw it, and I don't even think she knew... She was like, I might need this, and stuck it in her pocket.
Wow. And she survived.
Yeah.
And the brain bleed didn't do her any permanent damage?
Doesn't sound like it, no.
Maybe that has to do partly with her youth or something.
I mean... Oh, and yeah, she said she also had a lung collapsed lung, if I didn't mention that. But I was just so impressed with her story.
I'm so sorry I said the thing about the life hammer. I didn't know that was actually coming into play. I kind of tipped off the... I'm sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, you didn't think that was going to happen.
No.
But her name is Angela Hernandez. She's 23. You can see, it says she shared several images of her mangled Jeep 2011, her Jeep Patriot, on Facebook and shares her story. And this was, looks like back in 2019.
Wow. That's so crazy.
I just loved that story.
It's great.
Because it has a lot of elements of what we talk about on the show.
Where is the bear?
I mean,
other than that,
if she comes across a bear, I have no doubt that she will kick its ass.
Yeah, of course she will. She'll take the tube and shove it up the bear's nose or something and cause it to have a brain bleed. So there.
Okay, well, I hope everyone feels good about blood.
Sanguination. Was it exsanguination? In the city.
Well, we just talked about how to survive blood loss. And when we come back, we're going to talk to our very special guest, Dorothea Coelho, about a bloody embarrassment.
Ooh, can't wait.
Stay tuned. Welcome back to How to Survive with Danielle and Kristine. Hey, Danielle.
Hi, Kristine.
How was your break?
It was fine. It was lovely.
It was good, right?
Yeah,
good
just
break.
Catching up on email and stuff.
We're very happy to have you here today.
Thank you so much. I'm a big fan of the show.
For those of you who don't know, Dorothea is a very talented writer, and you can find her Substack at dorotheacoelho.com. No, not .com, because that's your website,
Right.
dorotheacoelho.com.
Yeah.
And we'll give everyone the information again at the end.
Can you explain to me what a Substack is?
It's a newsletter. It's like the thing. A lot of writers are doing it now. That like you know how blogging was all the thing when I think we all had kids around the same time and everybody was having a blog and doing their blog. But really, Substack is a lot of professional writers, and because they're not making a lot of money, it's a place where you can create a newsletter, and it's just writing. It's a very simple form, and you go and you create a newsletter, and you can send it in, and you can. It's a subscription. It doesn't have to be a subscription, but you can make money. And there's a lot of pretty big deal writers on Substack that
like George Saunders is doing one.
Exactly.
I feel like I might have to break up with George Saunders because he's sending too many.
If you go to Substack.com, you can look up anyone's Substack. Is that how it works?
It'll say the top 10 they're doing, and you could look it up by name. Mine is called Bad Pillow, but
I love that.
mine's under my name, Dorothea Coelho.
You also do interior decorating, right?
I do like styling and photo styling and interior decorating, but I'm still doing writing, and once in a while we'll do comedy. The last time I actually did comedy, I believe I did it with Jimmy.
Oh,
at
really?
Flappers. It was before pandemic. It's been a couple years.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's how we Dorothy and I met through stand-up. What are we talking? Oh, well, we just talked about how to stop a bleed.
Yes, how to survive a massive blood loss was our topic today. And Dorothea, I think you have a story that's related to
I do.
this.
Oh, yes,
and
I do.
We're very interested in hearing it. So
okay, well, I know there's a lot of controversy right now in the podcast world, so I just want to say there's going to be a content warning. I'm going to throw out there right now because I don't want to get you guys in trouble because
we
the big
neither
network.
support nor deny.
I'm just saying, I do have a term I'm going to be using that might trigger some people, so I just want to let them know before I say it, and it's really controversial. It can be very upsetting. Middle school.
Okay.
So that term it's triggering for me.
Wait,
so
now
there's some other people.
Speaking of that, see, I'm already doing it. I'm already getting ahead of myself. But did you call it middle school when you were in middle school, or did you call it junior high? Because we're the same age.
We called it middle school.
Oh,
and
so
it was called junior high. It was Jordan Junior High was the name of it, but we called it both.
Where were you? Where did you grow up?
In Palo Alto, Northern California.
That's weird.
Before the boom, and I moved after my freshman year of high school. We moved to Boston, and I finished high school and college.
We never
in
called it
Boston.
middle school, but
we called it. But I always called it middle school, and then we also junior high. But no, middle school is like the casual term for or emotional prison, whichever you want to, whatever you want to, however you want to view it.
100%.
Anyway, so I do have a story.
Yes.
About the middle school, which is my trigger word. So I was one of those girls who was a late bloomer. Not so late that I but late enough. All my friends by 7th grade had boobs and hips and boyfriends, and I just was like this skinny, hot shit mess. I looked like a angrier and sadder Dickens character. I just didn't have the smudges on my face, like flatsy patsy, just awful. And so
did they call you that?
They called me Tater Tits. Yeah, that was great. Good
Oh
stuff.
my God.
My story basically takes place in, I want to say probably the middle of 8th grade. And I was in 6th period. We had 7 periods during those days. Like you couldn't leave early or anything like that. And I was in social studies and I was taking a test. And I didn't really have any good buddies in the class, but there was a girl who kind of sat near me and she was very nice. We ended up being really close friends in high school, but I didn't know her very well. So I'm taking the test and I don't want to, intimidate you guys because I know you guys are all smart with your fancy books and shit like that, but I was like a hardcore straight C- student.
Oh, wow. You had it all
I
going
wasn't even
on.
phoning it in. I was like, bleep, 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 bleep. Like I didn't even, I was taking the Scantron test. I wasn't even trying to do designs. I just didn't even, it was terrible. I was a terrible student.
Wow.
Yeah. I just couldn't focus. I was like a border collie in a field of butterflies. I had other shit. I was just like, please grow tits. Please grow tits. That's all you
was
can
where
hear.
all your brain power was
all
going.
my brain power was trying to push my boobs through.
Did you try we must increase our
Oh,
butts?
of
Hadn't
course.
you read the Judy Blume?
Everything.
The bigger the better, the tighter the sweater?
Of course. I did it all. It was
Nothing
push-ups
worked?
and
No.
nothing
So
worked.
weird.
I just was waiting. It all happened in
Science.
That got me to a AAA. No time.
I think by the end that was a little bit better. But anyway, so I'm in social studies and I'm taking a test and I'm done and there's about 5 minutes left till the bell rings and I get up and just so you can picture it, I'm wearing like a white polo shirt, white with like dark blue guy and my vintage plaid Bermuda shorts. They're like yellow and blue.
Yes,
I found
yes.
them, and I was a thrift store addict and I was really good at it. I had my
That's
secret
hard
spots.
to do for preppy.
Yeah, and like all these cool 50s sweat, like these Bermuda shorts, and then I always have a matching cardigan, which was like on my desk chair, and like Weegens. So I was owning
What are
it.
Weegens?
Oh, penny loafers. The cordovan. Yeah,
love
I still
my
have
penny
them.
loafers.
And there's a couple things I still have in my closet.
You were like the villain in an 80s movie.
I was, but I didn't have any game. I just was trying to. Yeah,
I love it though. I can totally
with the name like
picture it.
Dorothea. They're like door to door shit was one of my nicknames from another bully.
Jesus
I know,
Christ.
terrible.
Oh my God.
Fuck that guy, Brian Mueller. Anyway, I think he's a really, really wealthy hedge fund manager in New York. Fuck him twice.
Of course he is.
Yeah, fuck him. Anyway, so I get up to go to the front and put my paper on the test on the desk, and I turn around, and as I'm walking back, the girl who I knew somewhat well but not great just kind of looks at me like in this crazy shock, like look, her eyes are really wide and her eyes are already really big. She's almost thyroidian. You know what I mean? She's
Yes.
almost there. So she really looked fucked up. And I was like, but she doesn't say anything to me. There's all these people in the class and they have to be quiet. And she just kind of looks at me like, woo, an old timey ghost or something. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I keep walking. And I get back to my desk and I look down, and on the desk, it's one of those old fashioned like 50s desks, because this is like a 50s, still school.
Sure.
They're still there. I think they're about to like tear it down and remodel it. But the actual desk element attached to the seat, and it was like plud, like fake, plud on the front on the actual desk part, and then the plastic and metal seat is like this awful mauve color with like it's like nubby plastic. It looks like something you take the GED in prison. Like, you're gonna make
my life's getting better.
Yeah, my wife. I'm gonna learn how to spell and not murder people. It's gonna be fucking great. And so I look down, and on this like awful mauve is just this smear of blood. Like,
baby.
But it already looked like it had soaked in. Like, I was like, what the fuck? And I looked down at it, and I'm like, I don't understand. And all of a sudden, I was like, then that takes me that long to realize. I feel like the wetness between my, and I was like, oh my God. And I like crane my neck, and I look back, and I am covered in blood on the back of me and underneath. No. And I was like, and I just immediately start sweating. Like, I don't, like,
I thought you started lactating.
No.
I didn't know what that move was. I'm
letting down.
It's all happening at once?
For those of you who have ever nursed, it's called letting down. It's just as shitty as the next thing that happens to you when you're a woman.
Kidding.
It's fucking horrible. No, and I was like, oh my God. And I sit right down, and now I'm like sitting in my own blood pile, and I am in a panic. I mean, it looked like a terrible like early 90s like Z Gallery painting. You know what I mean?
Z Gallery. I miss it so.
So much.
So many Nagel posters.
I know, exactly.
Was this your first time getting your period?
I got my period like one other time.
Oh yeah,
it was like
those are the big ones too. They're just like
your tampon,
big flow.
Garen's like he's gonna burst into flames over here. It was just horrible. But yeah, so I had never and I wasn't prepared. I didn't have stuff in my backpack.
Right.
Like in 7th grade, to be cool, I would carry tampons in like the little pouch, but they were hidden in case I got my period. And my bully, Eric Welke, fucker, at the bike racks, like when my backpack was on in 7th grade, and he opened the thing and he pulled out a tampon and he waved it around and shamed me.
You really did grow up in a movie.
Yeah, I grew up in a movie.
This
it was
is
full
horrible.
on. It was horrible. Yeah. But whatever. So I said, yeah, it's the size of your dick. And I said something to that effect.
Hey, that's pretty impressive.
Started to stand up early. Like, you're going to heckle me, I'll fucking... Always talk about if a woman insults you, go after her ankles, her ass, or her shoes. Yeah. And if a man insults you, talk about his small penis or his mother. And it really fucking works. That's my...
I like this.
That's my book.
Known this.
I hope this is your first Substack topic.
I could make it that. I could. I've already written
rules for living.
Rules for living, just to make fun of the shoes and the penis. So I'm sitting there, and I'm panicked, and I'm starting to sweat, and then the bell rings, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I going to do? I've got to get, not only do I have to get across to another, I've got another class, so there's 3 issues here. I'm not the last class. So I have to get up, and thank God I've got a sweater. So
that was my first thought.
Sweater. So I tie it around my waist.
Cardigan around the waist.
But I don't know what to do. The second problem is that the 3 most popular boys are coming in next. They're in the, everybody, everybody who's in every class.
Yes.
I mean, when I say popular, they're like gold comes off of the back of their heads when they walk around, and I don't think their feet touch the ground. I mean, fucking just Buddy, Barry, and Gail. I can't believe I'm using their real names. And
wait. Buddy, Barry, and Gail?
Gail. His mother was French. She was friends with my father, but they were so...
Yeah, but those are the 3 worst names. I can't believe those are the popular boys.
No.
Buddy, Barry, and Gail?
Really?
That's horrible.
Sounds like a bad improv troupe.
No, I always thought they were really, they were so hot. I'm going to find a picture and
Barry?
Yeah, very cool guy.
Okay.
Very
you better
popular.
send it.
Was the kid christened Buddy?
I think his real name, oh my God, what is it? We're also Facebook friends. So when I advertise this, or like when I promote it, he's going to be like, what the fuck? I think his name was maybe Robert. It was a nickname. Super preppy family. Right. Yeah.
These do sound like characters on Back to the Future.
Yeah,
right?
It's insane.
Really? Okay. It's funny. Because when you're in it and you're covered in your own blood, you don't really think about that. I don't know. I was a little distracted. I didn't think, your fucking name sucks. Really, once you bend over, you look like you were stabbed in the bottom. Okay. I was too. So those are my concerns. Obviously, I'm completely in a panic. So I know that they're coming in, and the worst of the worst is that it's assigned seating.
I was going to say they know where you sit.
Oh no! And this was a social studies teacher who was a control freak, controlo. She liked everybody, and it was alphabetized or whatever. So Buddy sat in my seat. And he's the king of the kings, right? He really is it. He's the cutest boy. And so, oh my God, nightmare. I had such a crush on him too. So it was like, this is going to be social suicide. He's going to know I sat there, that I bled all over the place. It's going to be all over the mimeograph machine.
Oh yeah, it's going in the newsletter.
Because there's no Insta and there's no TikTok of somebody taking it was just everything could go wrong.
They're going to put your blood through the mimeograph machine to use instead of that purple stuff.
Exactly. God knows I had plenty of it. And it was, and you have to realize that the clock is ticking here. I don't have anything on me or in me. And I'm still bleeding. It's not like, oh, I saw it on the desk and it's ended. It's like, it's coming. It's Niagara Bloody Falls. Now I sound like I'm British, like, oh, Niagara Bloody Falls. But I'm so not. So luckily, by the stroke of luck, I don't know how this happened, the teacher had to go to the bathroom too. So all of a sudden, everyone leaves and I'm frozen in my chair, and I said, okay, I've got 3 minutes to figure out what the fuck I'm going to do. Yeah. And I can do something. The teacher's not there. And I just get up and I was like, fuck it. And I rearranged the desks.
No.
I was like, fuck yeah, I did.
But wait, I'm sorry. Are you the only person left in the class?
I'm the only person left in the class.
So everyone in your class left, and then
because it's 7, they've got to get to class.
And because she had to go to the bathroom, no one else came in.
No, I had like 1 minute max.
This is genius.
So you can hear everybody walking by, going to the lockers, clunk, clunk, clunk,
getting rid of a book and another book.
Books, talking, chatting, gossiping, or whatever. And now I'm down to 2 minutes.
You couldn't find a paper towel.
It wouldn't come off. It was stained.
Yeah. Okay,
so I'm using my sweater. I'm spitting. I'm doing the whole thing. That's a disgusting visual.
Okay.
Let's not. Can we edit that out, Karen? Because I just barfed in my mouth. So I'm wiping down the desk, and it's literally already sunken into the plastic. I don't know what they fucking made. It's like toxic cancer plastic.
No, I know what you're talking about.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know what kind of shit they used back then.
Asbestos.
It was asbestos. It was literally on my ass. It was ass worstus. It was fucking a nightmare. I'll be here all week. And so I decide, and instead of just making it easy, I go to the far, reaches of, and I get a desk all the way. Instead of just switching them, I'm in a panic, so I grab the desk, and I know exactly where everyone sits. At first, I grab a desk, and it was a girl named Penelope, and Penelope was like a sad sack of shit. Like she already had it rough. If I was gross, she was double gross.
And she's got the girliest name in the world.
Yeah, girly, and she didn't talk, and she had I think she had boogers all the time. And I mean, I was like, I can't. So I grabbed her.
What's a little menstrual blood between you and Penelope at this point?
True, but I was like, you know what? She's already got everything stacked against her.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't want to fuck her and roll her under the sad bus. So I was like, whatever. So I go into the other desk, and it was like this jerky kid named Chris, and he was in my drama class, and he was
that guy.
And he was like a jerk and didn't have a lot of friends, but he was so cocky jerky. Like you're like, what? Fuck him. And so I decided he was going to be the one, and I was like, well, they're going to think it's anal blood. I don't know what's going to happen. But
Chris bleeds from his ass.
Chris is going to have to cross that fucking scary bridge when it comes to it. It's not my fucking problem. So I drag his desk over and I switch, and so I put my bloody desk in Chris's spot. Now, Chris, this was my reasoning, and I have now got 30 seconds, right? Chris Gerardo Chris Gerardo is his full name. I'm using all names. I'm going to get in so much trouble. He was in my drama class that year, and he was the guy. He'd already had a social suicide moment where he was up on stage doing his monologue from some play, and we're just in class. It wasn't like in front of the school, but he was wearing white Painter's pants, and he got a full erection, full boner.
Wait a second. During his performance? Was he turned on by his own performance?
I think maybe. I mean, I'm going to say yes, because it made me feel better about fucking him over with the desk moving. Because it was weird. All of a sudden, he was like getting really into it, and he got, full bones. You saw the helmet, you saw the tangerines, you saw the whole fucking
tangerines,
the Franks and beans, like the buns, the whole fucking, the mustard and the ketchup. You saw everything. It was fucking crazy. It was his desk. So I put the bloody desk and right as I'm like, screeching back with my desk, they weighed they're like a fucking small car. It was crazy how heavy those fucking things were. I get it right back into place. I've got my book backpack on, and I've got my dark sweater tied around my my crime scene, and in walk the 3 popular boys, and I just hear this, yeah, dude, and I was like, what? And I panic, and I get up, and I'm convinced that you could, I'm dripping down my legs. I look down, I'm like, so far so good, and they're like, what's up with you? And I was like, I couldn't even talk. I was just it was like I farted out oops, I just hit my mic. I just made this fucked up noise and then just put my head down and walked out. So now basically there's still a couple people in the hallway, and I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know what to do. I was like, I can't go to 7th period, because what's my 7th period? Fucking shop class, and I'm the only girl.
Oh,
and I'm not it's a cross campus, and I'm gonna go and make like a pig cutting board as blood rolls down my leg. I don't fucking think so.
What is a pig cutting board?
Remember, you had to make cutting boards in shop, and then they had to be certain shapes. Sometimes
shaped like a pig,
shaped like
not
a pig.
A cutting board on which you would cut pigs.
Well,
I couldn't,
because at that point I'm stuck like a pig. I'm fucking bleeding out.
Yeah.
I was like, it was terrible. So I'm like, oh my god. So I start to I just panic. I hear all the doors closing, and I was like, fuck it. I just walked straight to the nurse's office. I was like, what am I supposed to do?
Exactly.
That's
yes.
what you do.
That's
That's
the
and I
go-to
walk in, and she's 95 and plus. I mean, she's like a blue hair, and
she doesn't know what periods are anymore.
No, oh God, no. She's menopausal. You know, she's like twice over. She's probably died 3 times. Like, I mean, she's like so old, and her tits are each the size of like 7 cantaloupes. And she's like, Kelly, what are you doing? How are you? And I was like, eh, and I just burst into tears. And I tell her the story, and I'm totally still embarrassed. Like, even though she's a woman, I'm horrified. Sure. And there was one other kid there in like the back getting a Band-Aid or whatever. And I don't think he heard me. I was like, at this point, I was like, fuck you. I don't even care anymore. I'm so traumatized. And she goes, well, you just can't not go to shop class. You just have to go to shop class. And I said, I can't. I'm covered in my own blood. She goes, well, I have to call your mother. I was like, of course. So she calls my mother at work. And my mom's, of course, no problem. Gets me on the phone. I'm hysterical. She's like, you got to calm down. Just get something from the nurse and go home. You'll be fine.
Right.
Now, I didn't have to, we lived a couple miles away, but it's California. So we all rode our bikes. So my bike is there. So I'm waiting and I'm so trying to keep my shit together. And the old nurse goes in the back and then comes back with a fucking maxi pad that was like the size of a stale French bread. It was like, it was so huge, but it didn't have any fucking sticky stuff.
What?
It was from the fucking 50s. It still had the fucking pins on it.
Said I like Ike on it.
Yeah, I was like, I like Ike, exactly. Impeach Nixon. You know, like, it was like Truman's our man. You know, it was just, I was like, what? And I just burst into tears again. She's like, and I go, you can't put that in my shirt. She goes, this is all I have, dear. And I didn't even know how to use it. So I go into the bathroom in the nurse's office, thank God.
Twice.
I like literally, exactly. And all of a sudden, I'm so tall. You know, like, I was like, oh my God, it's the 3 inches I've always waited for. And I put it in and I tried to pin it down and I was like, I can't.
Wait, it had pins on it?
It had fucking pins in it.
Like safety pins?
Yeah, they were like attached
that you would pin to your underwear?
Yeah, you would pin to your underwear. But I don't think I even got that far. I was too hysterical. I was like, whatever. So I tucked him in, and now I've got to get back to my locker, get my books for tomorrow, and then get to the bike racks. And so I'm walking down the hall and you're like, squish, squish, squish. It sounded like I was opening candy in a fucking quiet movie theater. It was fucking the whole way like, and you're like, oh my God, I'm this, like, again, social suicide situation. What if you see like the cool kids? I had crushes on everyone. My vagina was out of control, but had
apparently.
No and Dave, like this gorgeous kid named Dave, was like, sometimes he would be hall monitor kind of thing, and he would have to do errands for and so I was like, what if he sees me and hears me like a box of hot tamales walking down it was horrible. So I somehow avoid people. I get to my locker, get all my books for the next day, and then leave the front. Now, okay, great, I'm home free. Hardly. Our bike racks weren't in the fucking corner or near the athletic fields or down the street or in the parking lot. They were in the front of the school in like a U-shaped driveway in front of all of the windows. So the class that I had just left,
They can see.
Yes. So Buddy, Barry, and Gail and everyone else can see me leave. So of course, when you're bored in class, you look out and you're like, why does they fucking get to leave early? What's she doing leaving early? And so here I am, like noisy, puffy. I'm basically like have an adult diaper on, and I'm waddling over to my bike, and I'm like trying to I'm trying to look cool, right?
Oh my God.
With my fucking thing around my waist, my cardigan, and I'm just trying to keep my shit together. I bend over. I'm like 34, 15, 37. Yes, I still remember my combination lock, and I'm bend over and I'm like, and I'm trying not to bend where you know, I'm trying to bend awkwardly so you can't. Oh God. And so you can't, because I'm at this point I'm Carrie from fucking Carrie.
Yes.
I'm Carrie from Carrie. I'm covered in blood.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm covered in blood, even though I know it's about to go down my legs. Like I can feel it because I couldn't stop it, and then the pins
even
aren't
with
working.
the pad?
The pad was, but it wasn't a good.
It's
there
not
were
like
no
absorbent.
wings. We didn't have wings.
I know.
This was wingless.
But
it was a fucking French bread.
it's probably also made of asbestos.
It was asbestos. It was crotch-tastic. It was fucking a disaster. So I was like, oh my God. But I also, in my mind, I was so traumatized at this point. I was so sweaty. I burst into tears like 7 times that I'm convinced that all you could see was like, you know, my Rorschach.
Yes, right.
My Rorschach drawing of my ass. Right. And the whole school could see it. So I'm trying to be cool. I get on my bike, and now I'm on my bicycle seat, and I'm literally 5 feet tall. And I can barely, so my little Ouija, I can barely reach the pedals, and I'm like spinning. I'm spinning in circles, and I'm trying to catch the pedal with my toe, and I was like, just get to the end of the driveway, and I'm like trying to be cool, and you can feel all these eyeballs on me, and I was like, what if like the wind suddenly catches the cardigan and it comes up and you just see blood everywhere? So I was like, I get there, and I'm like, just get to the stop sign, get to the stop sign. So I'm pedaling, and everything hurts, and I can't reach the pedals, and I finally like glide ride there, and I have to get off of the seat because now it's just wet and painful, and I round the corner and I'm finally home free, and I have 2 miles of straight road, and I just sob the entire place. Sob home. I get home.
Wait,
I peel
did
everything.
you walk it home?
At one point, I had to walk
home.
home because it was like I felt like, well, what if it slips out my shorts and flies and hits someone in traffic? Then they're going to be like, old man decapitated by bloody French bread. Like the mystery. That would be a podcast. It takes 47 episodes to figure out how the fuck did Mr. Smith he's decapitated and he lost an eye. What is this thing? It's a maxi pad from 1947. You could use it as a mallet. So I got home and I'm covered at this point. I've got my house key because of course I was a latchkey kid. And I call my mom, tell her, and I'm just hysterical. And she's like, shut up, just get in the bath. And here are my favorite Bermuda shorts somehow. Yeah. And I told my mom, by the way, I called her yesterday and I told her, I said, I reminded her of the story. And I told her, because I had like a 2-hour drive home from a job yesterday. And I told her, and she goes, and the first thing, they're like, oh, you poor thing, none of that. Like, you guys are being so loving and sweet and kind. And, a million years later, you still make me feel like I'm supported. My mother goes, oh my God, those shorts. She's like, did you ever get the stains out? That would have been such a shame. You love those fucking shorts. And I was like, the short, I go, yeah, I think I got the stains out. I think I soaked them. I mean, I wore them. What? And she's like, oh yeah, I just remember those shorts. Those are really great shorts. No, nothing else.
Well, I can appreciate someone who remembers an article of clothing. I get it.
I know. I did it because, she was my thrifter pal. So anyway, that was, so I got home, cried. And then the next day, just had to make it up that everyone's like, what happened? Where were you
what did you say?
School. I just said someone had stabbed me and I ran.
In my vagina.
In my vagina. My vagina got stabbed. I never talked about it again. And I actually have never, I don't think I've ever told this story publicly.
Well, here we go.
I don't think so.
We appreciate it because that was unbelievably, oh my God, it was so funny, but it's also so relatable and just,
yes.
I mean, your mind, the way your mind works, I'm going to switch the desks. Just genius.
Well, that I don't know.
Brilliant.
Again, I was a C- student, so we were shocked by that.
Well,
response.
you used your brains for when it needed.
It was panic. It was a full panic mode.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dorothea. This has been hilarious. Oh my God,
so much fun,
and so much pain all at the same time.
Yeah, I'm so glad my pain could be your pleasure.
Oh my God,
I love it.
It took a long time,
and thank you for. Being a listener and being on our show.
Listener, huge fan. Really, you guys are great.
We love this.
And I bought a little hammer. I just bought a hammer for Christmas. Or it was in my stocking stuffer to get out of my car in case my car fell into a river.
I love that.
Yeah, and I've repeated many times to my husband all this advice because he thinks I'm crazy. And I was like, no, I'm not. Listen to these two fuckers.
Yeah,
yeah,
not
we're the crazy ones.
Yeah.
We just told a great story about a woman who went over a cliff and then into the ocean at Big Sur and got out of her car because of having the hammer.
Having the hammer.
Yeah, having a multi-tool. Dorothea Coelho?
Coelho.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still getting it wrong.
You might want to spell it out. It is brutal.
DorotheaCoelho.com. And also you can find her on Substack at...
Dorothea Coelho at Substack.com. And then my newsletter is called Bad Pillow.
Bad Pillow. So
Bad Pillow.
Find her website. She's an amazing interior designer and also the best person to thrift with, although she's probably not going to do that with you, but
I do it with you. I love it.
She might.
And my favorite color is blood red. What?
And go to her Substack.
Oh, you look good in it.
Thank you so much for coming. And
thanks for having me.
We'll be right back with what we've learned
today.
Hey, welcome back to How to Survive. Danielle.
Yes.
How's it going? Do you want to share some knowledge? Drop some knowledge?
I'm going to drop some knowledge about what we learned this week. First of all, Aaron Ralston was the subject of 127 hours.
Thank you.
An arm can weigh 5.3% of your total body weight, give or take.
Okay.
So that sounds like a lot.
It does sound
I think.
like a lot, I guess.
Gaping, according to Garen, is one of the worst words in the English language, and I understand. I think that's... But is it worse than exsanguation by Dior? You can bleed to death in just 5 minutes. 154-pound man has 5 to 6 liters, and a woman who is small has 4 to 5 liters of blood. Pus is a whitish yellow, or brown yellow protein-rich fluid called liqueur peri that accumulates at the site of an infection. It sounds so much better than what it really is.
We're getting so many good perfume ideas for Angelina.
I know. She doesn't seem to act anymore, so
she should
hire support
us.
Those 12 kids somehow. Women can lose up to 80 milliliters during their period.
I'm doing that right now.
So jealous. Menorrhagia for men. Internal bleeding can be as dangerous or more so than blood exiting your body. Terry's stool would be described as black and sticky. It still sounds like a young actress to me or something. Terry's stool.
And how do you find out it's sticky?
Well, it's stool, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, maybe as it's coming out of you.
Oh.
I'm sorry. I don't know what the show has done to me. It's really made me a different person, and I don't know if I like it.
I do like this version of you.
Maybe don't move someone who's injured. Pressure on the wound unless it's an eye.
Boing.
Boing. Chicong. Remain calm. This is a really good one. Your blood pressure can rise and increase blood loss. Stopthebleed.org for classes. Make a tourniquet 2 to 3 inches above the wound, closer to the torso. Don't feel bad if you fail to save a gunshot victim. They were probably going to die anyway.
Poor victim.
Bleeding to death is not common, but depends on severity of wounds. When you're bullying a woman, go after her ankles, ass, and shoes. When you're bullying a man, talk about his dick or his mother. Cold water and peroxide can help with fresh blood stains.
Oh.
It's good to know if you're a 13-year-old girl or a murderer. This has been an excellent episode, I think.
Oh, thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And as always, reach out to us. Let us know. If we don't get to your letter, sometimes it's just because our show has run long, but we absolutely will get to them. And keep listening. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, everybody. We'd love to hear from you on the social media at Pod How to Survive on Twitter and Instagram. And also, you can send us an email, podcasthowtosurvive@gmail.com. We'd love to hear your survival stories or just say hello. All right. Talk to you later.